everybody, and welcome back to the Virzi Effect Podcast Show. My name is Paul Virzi. You guys listened to episode 567, but a lot less since we've been in here. I want to thank everybody who's been rating and reviewing the show, especially since we've been in here. You can get the Virzi Effect anywhere you get your podcast, iTunes, Spotify. Check me out in Chicago, guys. March 2nd through the 4th. Tickets are going. Then I'm going to Providence. We have Salt Lake City, Denver, Charlotte, Raleigh, a bunch of new dates. Atlanta just got added. You go to paulvirzi.com for that. My guest today is, what can I say, one of the best? Is that too much?
Well, yes, completely inaccurate. I would have said when I sent the email to your producer for the intro, I specifically wanted, ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts. That's so I like to be introduced. Do you shame Spiral during an intro? Like at the Cellar, I say never say anything more than your next comedian. I hate credit. I am so embarrassed if they're like.
I just want when the special came out, I wanted to say you can
of
check out
course,
his special
yes.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I don't want
that's practical.
No, but Jim Norton is here. Somebody that one of my all time favorites. So Jim,
Thank you.
How'd you start with comedy? Let's imagine we go to old school model.
Where do you get your ideas? But here's the word. The only thing worse than your question would be me actually being serious and answering it. Well, Paul, it's funny. Yeah.
Remember when podcasts first started? So you're from Jersey?
Yeah.
And
you know that. We grew up together, you fucking idiot, my neighbor. Or the process of comedy. Who wants to know the internal who gives a shit?
Jim, when you're up there and you're telling a joke and it's not going well, what do you feel?
Yeah, like shooting myself the same way I feel like when it is going well. I always feel like that. Fucking dumb question.
There is something funny about comedians who, and I think the best example of this, when a comedian can't handle when it's going well is funny. Yeah. Because the norm is to feel shitty when you're bombing.
Right.
But when Nick DiPaolo one time, he's on stage at the Stand killing, and it was almost like he couldn't handle it.
Yep.
He just goes, I hate this fucking city. He just had to go in negative. It's so funny to me. It's almost like you can't handle the love of the crowd. It's so wild.
Well, Nick is a weird guy because he's one of those guys, like if he's killing in a place where he probably lines up with them, he probably, it feels good about it. But I would see Nick murdering in the Cellar. And it was almost like in his mind, he's like, I'm doing something wrong if these fucking assholes are enjoying it. Yeah. I must not be saying what I really want to say.
Yeah.
By the way, Nick is one of the most underrated stand-ups ever. He's a brilliant fucking joke writer. He's a great, great comic. And I remember when I first started, he was one of the guys that I was like, I want to be able to do what that guy does. Like, to say the things he says with zero fear, but funny. He's a very underrated guy.
It's funny how, like, you watch a guy like that and you're going, in your mind, you're going like, that's the goal. Mm-hmm. To be able to just say that and stand in it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't give a shit. I remember one time he's like, this fucking liberal shitty city, you're all dumb liberals. He goes, I don't know why I even come to this shithole anymore. And then just stayed there. And they were like, all right.
I know. He says the same thing in Texas.
So this is one thing that I do want to talk about, though, because somebody told me the story, and I didn't get the story accurately. When you started, you were doing stand-up. When you started with Opie and Anthony, you won a contest? Is that no?
No.
What's the story of how you got the third mic of Opie and Anthony?
Oh, that was just I was touring with Dice from '97 to 2000, Jeez. And Dice was so good to me. Like, I love Dice, man, because Dice changed my life. Like, he would always talk to radio shows about me and my opener. You got to see my opener, and he would go on O&A. And Anthony would do an impression of Dice. And Kenny told me these guys are making fun of Andrew. Kenny, it's always devastating news. Really is awful. As he's brushing fucking dirt from his home country off his suit. I was like, oh, fuck them. So I listened to Opie and Anthony. I heard Anthony doing the impression. And I'm like, holy God, this guy's fucking hilarious. So Andrew started going on the show, and they loved him. And one time, Dice called me on the phone while he was on Opie and Anthony and made me tell some golden shower story. Like, I used to date this girl, and she would piss into a cup for me, and I was like, make me drink it. So she would take her hand and tip it into my mouth. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a true story. That's a true story. And I miss those days. And so he made me tell that story on the radio. And I did tell that story on the radio, and they kind of liked it. So the next time he went in studio, he brought me in, and they liked me. And it was Opie who actually was like, hey, come back in again. And then eventually I got arrested with Louis Black. We spent the night in jail for the voyeur bus. And then I kind of had carte blanche.
Oh, okay. So there were no like auditions for the third mic. You just happened to work your way in.
There was no. I didn't even. I'm such a stupid asshole. I'm so not observant. Him and Anthony O&A were not getting along at the time, and they would talk through me to each other, and I didn't even notice. I'm so dumb. So yeah, I was in there, and then we got fired in 2002, and we sat out for 2.5 years, and came back in 2004. But yeah, that was how it was. All it was Dice. Dice brought me in,
and that was like before social media, so that must have been huge for ticket sales for you, right? Like,
yeah, it was crazy. Like I remember the first time, like we were on regular radio in the afternoon, and the first time I had tickets go on sale in a theater was the the Theater of the Living Arts in Philly, TLA. Sat like 500 or 600. And my agent, Pete, at the time was calling me, goes, the first one sold. You want to do it? This was all in the same 4-hour broadcast. Wow. We added like 4 shows. We did 5 shows. Then I wound up going in doing the Tower Theater. And boy, it's nice to know that can all come to an end. That's always, thank God I didn't film those shows.
Then TikTok came in.
Oh my God.
And you're competing with a dancer in a
and
kitchen.
some kid doing this with, no particular gender fucking is doing arenas.
Like, I'm doing the Tower Theater too.
Yeah, 4 shows on a Tuesday. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm doing the punchline or the, what's the other one? Oh, the helium. Sorry, helium. I don't do the punchline, I do the helium. Great, I just fucked that relationship up. Not only am I not doing the Tower Theater, now they're mad at me at helium.
Now your manager's going to call Helium's pissed.
Yeah, Jim, they heard you go, what's that place called? I didn't play well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the funny thing, man. It's like, I'm not mad at it. I used to be like, man, I'm working my way up and I'm fighting through.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to make some headway. And this guy, but I look at it like, you know what? I can't be mad at somebody who's, do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
I'm not going to hate on a guy that's filling up a place making money.
Yep.
Plus, his act is going to probably reveal itself.
Sure.
And they're not coming back, which I'm not rooting for. But I can't knock somebody who's making money because they utilize social media and be a hater like that.
Importantly, you are rooting for that, and so am I. We're all rooting for it. But I never begrudge a guy. Like, I'm not one of those guys that goes, "These fucking YouTube guys." Because if you have like my YouTube, you've never seen less interest in anything than Jim Norton's YouTube. It's really fucking crazy. Like, I'm almost impressed with my ability to generate no interest in my YouTube. Like, I don't use it for much. I've had 12,000 people for 15 years. Like, before it was even, no one goes to it, but I don't use it. So anybody who's got like 1 million subscribers and they're getting fucking 5 million views, I have not figured out social media that well. Yeah. And I don't care that much. Like, I'm at a point in my life, a lot of weird shit has happened, like in a good way. Like, I'm good. But I don't begrudge anybody who's got 1 million people watching a video, like, because they're doing something that I can't do, and they're entertaining people in a way that I can't. Like, so. Right. It's something comedians get mad when YouTubers show up and suck in a club. How the fuck you think they feel about us being on YouTube? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a guy with 4 million subs, and then I'm putting my dick jokes on. Like, I heard the fucking the YouTube store shorts are doing quite well. Not for you, they're not, Jim. But I mean, we've invaded their space too. Like, they weren't accepted as stand-ups, so they're going out, and then we realize, oh my God, you can make fucking however many hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and we try it, and they're not shitting on us for doing it. So I don't care if they do clubs.
When you say a lot of stuff that's happened, good stuff that's weird, what do you like?
Just being in a relationship and like, I'm happy to be alive. Like, you know what I mean? You look back at your life and you're like, yeah, in a way, like it could be a lot worse. Yeah. So yeah, things are okay, and I'm kind of content where I am. Yeah, I want to move forward, don't get me wrong, but I mean, like, I'm okay.
No, there's a difference. Like, we all want to move forward, but being satisfied and at peace is fucking incredible.
Yeah, I want to bend over, spread my cheeks, and move forward, asshole first, to the first finger I see.
You know, it was funny because I remember, like, when you were putting content out, you were so shameful of doing. When you put content out, you even will show things of you either bombing or saying something ridiculous that means nothing, and it was so fucking funny.
Thank you.
But the funniest for me, the Doug Bell. This is one of my favorite things. I talked about it on Rogan.
Thank you. I know. I saw that. We laughed about that very hard.
I was on Rogan and we were just talking. I said, "Have you seen Jim Norton's character Doug Bell?" And he goes, "No." And he actually put it on the show.
And by the way, I was sorry because he put up the cameo one, which was early Bell. I wish he would have found a later clip.
Oh, of like
when Bell became Bell.
When Bell became Bell. But dude, the one we got to play it. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to drop it in. The one with you and Aaron Berg.
Thank you.
And the T-shirt thing.
Yeah, oh, the cannon.
Dude,
yeah.
when you said take it out, dude. Where did Doug Bell come from? Because I know you did you do Doug before or after Chip?
Way after. Like Chip was from. I did a character like in the late '90s called Roger Davis, who sucked, and he had a family. Like his brother, like his one brother had been burned in a fire, except for below the knees. It was really weird. I only did it. Yes, and he always wear knickers to show off his like unburned knees.
Roger Davis was your first character?
One, no, I mean, I didn't even do that publicly. I did that to annoy a girlfriend. These are all to annoy girlfriends. Like, there's ones I do now to annoy my girlfriends, which will never be public. They just annoy her. So that's how, like, Chip was. I remember one time in 2006, I was doing Chip, like, the older version, and the girl I was dating dug her fingernails into my face. She hated it so much, and I'm like, this has legs. I'm like, this is visceral,
Every
this
time
reaction.
my wife hates a bit, I go, I think it's got a shot.
It's got something, man. Because if your girlfriend's like, that was fantastic, you're like, well, that one's going in the fucking shit pile. So yeah, Doug was. I'm fascinated by unfunny people, like truly unfunny people.
Yeah.
The idea of desperately wanting to be funny.
Yeah.
And we all miss the mark. That's why bombs to me are funny. But deep down, I know I'm a funny person. Like you're a funny person. Like
right.
But the torture of not being a funny guy, of desperately reaching for it every time and just missing it, and everybody knows you're not funny but you. Like that's my greatest fear, is to be the guy in the room.
Yeah.
Like you ever been like at a party, guys telling a story, I said, I'm doing this, blah, 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 and everyone's like, oh, you fucking shut up, but he doesn't know that people hate him. That's my greatest fear. That's my fear. So Doug to me is even like Chip is my greatest fear, to be unfunny, but Doug is the worst because to me, Doug's a more believable guy than Chip. Like he's a more realistic guy, and it's based on a kind of a collection of people, but one guy in particular who I met up with, and he had white spittle. That's why Doug's always got shit on his mouth, because I hadn't seen this guy in a while, and I guess he went through suicidal thoughts. But I saw him once. He's like, I'm doing really well. I'm good. And he had that dry, bouncy spit in his mouth and the 1,000-yard Marine stare. And I'm like, that to me is where that essence of that part of Doug came from, was that guy.
Because the Doug Bell, there is something to him that he feels like he's a part of it, but he's not. It's like a delusion. It's a complete delusion of where he is, right?
Every one of his shit stories, which I love telling the stories about the old days at the Cellar. You know, me and Burr were going back and forth, but then you realize Bill was at the comics table and Doug was 4, tables over, but he knew, he saw, it's like just this fucking asshole trying to marry himself to things that had nothing to do with him. Like, and we all know that guy.
How many characters do you have? How many characters do you do like that are in public?
Basically, I have 6 cameos, but most Jim Norton is one, which is not new. Chip is blowing us all away. Chip, Doug, me, Craig Schenkel, who sucks. Edgar sucks. Kirk Cinnamon sucks.
What's the Schenkel one?
That's too embarrassing to do.
But what is he like? What is his persona?
He's just a fucking lump, but he talks like that. He's like a guy who has too much like lactose in his fucking throat. And he's no fans at all. My buddy Paul, though, at Sirius, a huge Schenkel fan. He's a big Schenkel, and Craig is really ugly. And I have a sweatshirt on chipchipperson.com. It's a Craig Schenkel sweatshirt of Craig's profile. I think I've sold one, and I've gotten one for Paul for free. It's a really, really ugly piece of merchandise.
That's fucking hilarious that you'll just sit with a girlfriend and do something annoying and then bring it to life. It's
those are all public. The ones with her are not public at all. There's a bunch with my girlfriend now that she fucking despises. Ramesh Patel is one she fucking hates. Uncle Dom. There's a few of them that she hates. Uncle Paul, I don't have a cameo for. Uncle Paul was one of my favorites ever, but it's just people would abuse it. It wouldn't go well.
Oh man, that's so fucking cool that you do. Because like another one of my buddies, Giannis Pappas, he does characters too.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing that like I'll fuck around at home and do stuff, but like the Doug Bell one is really like.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really great. And he doesn't have his own channel, does he?
No, he has his own show. Yeah, there's a Bellcast, which I stopped putting up, but there's probably like 30 of them on YouTube. They're on Chip's. They're on Chip's YouTube channel, which has shown not a lot of growth. If you want zero, Chip's YouTube channel is Progeria, and I fucking and Doug has the Bellcast, and I have a bunch that have never been released that I pre-taped. Because Doug, I have to do the hair and stuff, so I'll tape a bunch and I'll shave the goatee and I'll do 2, and then I'll dye the hair and I'll do 1, and then I'll go. He did one, some Breaking Bad one. It's really fucking awful. There's a Virzi story too. There's a Paul Virzi story. Doug and you had a conflict, I guess.
Anybody listening to this, man, check out the Doug Bell. Now, I saw something that you were on a list on the lineup at the Cellar as some. Have you gone on stage? Have you done a set as Doug Bell?
No, never. I've done Chip live shows. And how much faster did they sell than Jim Norton? A lot. Humiliating.
Chip is the star. Like as far as all of them.
Yeah, at one point, yeah. But no, I use Doug sometimes. I'll always use a name that isn't mine. Only because years ago I used to get a lot of death threats. Like I would get them through email all the time, and people would call the radio station. Just stuff you say on the air, or radio's a really weird. It's 4 or 5 days. That time was 5 days a week, 5 hours a day.
You probably got stalkers, right?
You had them, yeah, and you had people that really fucking hated your guts. And so I was always like, well, I don't want to be at the Cellar or any other clubs under my real name. Just I don't want people hassling the clubs.
Okay.
So I would use that. But I would go back and forth. At one point at the Comedy Cellar, I was only using people from the JFK assassination. So like for a while, I was fucking like David Ferry. I was all these fucking Jim Garrison, all these weird people on the fucking on the line. Yeah.
The guy who Pesci played in who
that was
that?
David Ferry.
Is that Ferry?
David
okay.
Ferry,
Wait, no,
yeah.
I'm thinking of Kevin Bacon. Was Kevin Bacon?
I forget his name in that. He was so good. You're a handsome man, Mr. Garrison. Oh my God!
Dude, JFK is
one of the best casted films ever.
Oh, that's that. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that.
John Candy,
because he was in it.
Yes, he was. He played Dino. Oh, you're going to tap dance on your head, Daddy-O.
But he was like, it was quick, right?
Oh, he had a big, fat, sweaty face in it. He played Dean Andrews. Was his name in that?
Oh shit! Yeah, I gotta watch that one again, man. There's a couple of movies like that. I liked Untouchables too.
Yes, I just saw that recently. It's one of those things that
I love Connery in that.
He was so great in that. Of course, De Niro was great, and so was Kevin Costner.
The villain guy was great. That guy that he fucking threw off the building.
Played Frank Nitti, yeah.
Dude, he was like you wanted him to. Yeah. You wanted the death the way it happened.
Yeah, bled like a stuck Irish pig. Yeah, it was great.
But I want to ask you the thing about the radio, because that is something that is kind of scary and weird, especially for like your loved ones to be like, you got some fucking lunatic who listens to you Monday through Friday, and they could be outside of the radio, of the station. Is it more of like a mental illness, or they really take exception to what you're saying? Like
a combination, like because most people take exception to what you say, they can handle it, but mentally ill people are just, they think something should be done about it, or they're so fucking dumb they get out. I've had enough of them. Like we're all a little fucking mentally ill.
Sure, of course.
It's like they act like they're the only ones who have fucking
Yeah.
But yeah, they have empty, and they want to look at you to somehow give their life meaning and be angry at you for what you say. Some people are just selfish narcissists. They don't like when you have a different opinion than them, and they don't like that they can't debate with you publicly. So a lot of people don't feel like they matter, and the only way for them to be heard is to yell like "fuck you" publicly.
Yeah. Because
if they say it differently, their point will just get washed away with all the other points. Do you know what I mean? But if they make it like in a crazy way, you have to acknowledge them.
Yeah, that's fucking weird, man, that you're in that you deal with that, because it's different than comedy fans. Because a comedy fan just either won't show up, or they'll say on social media, I don't like your comedy. But a radio person, like, you're talking about your opinions of life.
Yeah.
And then they're like, they take exception. I remember I did this thing where I was just joking about something about the UFC. This is years ago when UFC first got really big. I did a joke, and this guy, like, at the college, it was at a college. And he wrote this letter from his mother. He wrote this letter of like, do you know how hard these people work? And it was pages, dude. It was pages. He's like, they sacrifice so much, and I was just like, oh, I'm dealing with this person's a complete psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, this person took time to write like pages of letters to talk about how can you make fun of people that train and work. And it was really fucking bizarre. And then I realized, oh, okay, this is just a lunatic. You do that every day.
Yeah, and you do get people that write these rambling things. I don't check email that often anymore. I just don't, because I have one that I use for work. So I'm like, ugh. Like social media, I almost never check at mentions. Like I'm comfortable not checking them now. I like to post once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I don't need these people. Nobody needs everybody in their life all day. You just don't fucking. It's not healthy to always have other people around. What did you think? What did you think? Did you like it? What did you think?
No, it's sick.
Ugh.
It's like people.
Yeah, choke on your fucking opinions. Who cares? Gives a shit what I say. Don't listen.
But it's what you said. They don't have anything else. So it's like they have a platform now.
They want me to hear that they're angry. And it's just, I don't mind it when it's somebody as themselves saying it, because I'm like, all right. But the people who weigh in publicly and they just hide behind pseudonyms, the cowardice of that just drives me nuts.
Yeah. No, it's weird.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dak Prescott.
Sure. Okay. Oh, that guy's terrific.
we were talking about it on the Jim and Sam show, where it was like you said you talked about it so long, but it is now. I take it you're a Dallas Cowboy fan because growing up it was Aikman, Irving, and Emmett, and they were winning.
Way before then. It was my first memories of the Cowboys were them losing in Super Bowl 13 to Bradshaw and the Steelers.
Oh, so you're not even because a lot of my friends that are like Cowboy fans are like the big three. It was Emmett Smith and Irvin. There was like 92.
They won 92, 93, 95, yeah. But I mean, no, I was, I think my first memories of them were the 79 Super Bowl 13. Was Staubach, and it was fucking, they lost, Jackie Smith dropped that pass in the end zone. They lost 35-31.
Was Tony Dorsett the running back of that team?
He was, yeah.
Wow, okay, yeah, wow.
Preston Pearson, Drew Pearson,
not Hollywood.
Hollywood Henderson, sure,
Hollywood
doing
Henderson's
coke.
on that team?
Thomas Henderson, yeah, doing coke on the sidelines, and
Hollywood Henderson was the first Lawrence Taylor. So like Lawrence Taylor actually wanted to like. Hollywood Henderson would be on blow and just fucking destroying people the same way that Lawrence Taylor did, right?
Yeah, he was a I think it was a Vicks Vapo inhaler. If I'm not, I read his book and I forget what it was called, but he was doing coke in the sewer. I just like, what a great guy. I loved his book was really good. Thomas Henderson's book was great.
So they were talking to Carl Banks of the Giants, and they were like, "Can you give any Lawrence Taylor stories?" And he goes, "I can give one because Lawrence knows that this is out there. This is a true story. They're in the film room and it's dark. This is fucking dude." Do you know the story or no? When they're watching the film and Lawrence, so they're watching film with Parcells and it's dark and they're all sitting in the chairs watching, and the door opens and it's Lawrence Taylor. It's Lawrence Taylor, and Parcells would let him, like, and players would go, "How come you fucking let him come in late? He's sleeping in meetings." And Parcells says, "If you play like he does on Sunday, you do whatever the fuck you want." He comes in late and you hear like metal clanking, and like you hear like metal, and he's like walking in. And then the lights came on. He had handcuffs. He was with a hooker that tied him up with handcuffs, and he didn't have the key. How fucking
that's
amazing.
fantastic.
How fucking great is that?
That's fantastic.
He was with, like, they were like, "Did you get a raise?" Like, no, like me and the hooker were like, oh, there was like a hooker tying him to, and he didn't have keys to get the thing off the other, and he just showed up. I mean, that's like, dude, if that's
great.
If that's not fucking epic. And
that's
then
great.
And then not only that, then he would throw an offensive line around like they were children.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, but Hollywood Henderson, I think, was the first to that.
Yeah, he was one of those first notorious bad boys. Very like Michael Irvin was like that. Like just very very. People would like, oh God, this guy's a problem. I love that era of the Cowboys.
Did your family members like the Cowboys too, or like
hated the Cowboys? They're Giants fans.
So you went against.
So I went against, and I think they were all rooting for the Steelers that year. And that was, I think, probably why I rooted against them. I don't remember. Again, I was 11, so I don't really remember. But I stopped watching football years ago. I have a loathing for Jerry Jones. After Jimmy Johnson got let go, it was because of his ego. I was like so fucking annoyed. Like you guys had to. Again, in fairness, they were the first dynasty affected by the salary caps, but it didn't matter. I just hated the way he ran the team and got that Barry Switzer.
Barry Switzer from Oklahoma.
He's
from Oklahoma.
We did it. Shut it, Barry. He fucking got blown out in '94.
Dude, how about we always talk about this. The Buffalo Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. Dude, that is losing 4, because at one point you're like, oh, this year we got this.
Yeah, this year.
This one, getting it this. Dude, that's got to be one of the worst stretches ever.
I know, and I still have a bitterness toward and I love the big cat Leon Letch for holding that ball out, and then Don Beebe knocked it out of his hand.
I remember that.
And that would have been a 59-17 win, which would have been the most points in Super Bowl history, I think, to that point.
Leon Letch, the big cat.
The big cat, number 78. He was great. He was a guy, though, like on the Miami, he slid into game in the fucking snow on Thanksgiving, I think.
Yep.
Where he slid and kicked the ball into the end zone. I threw a shoe and it put a hole in my door. And the girl I just started dating went, "I'm gonna go home now," and she left because she realized I was mentally ill. But I can't watch them.
I remember that game.
Yeah, man, they were. I fucking remember that season. They started 0-2. They lost 2 games because Emmett was holding out, and I think Charles Haley went ballistic and said we can't win with a rookie running back. And they brought him in. They went 8-2. They lost 2 more. They went 8-4, and then they fucking wound up going. I want to say they were 11-4, and the Giants were 11-4. And I think that was the Emmett. I think they were up 13-0 at halftime, and then Otis Anderson.
Otis Anderson
Came back, and they were 13-13 at the end of quarter 4. I was at the game.
Wow, dude.
I was at the game, and they said, and then they went into overtime. And then they said, no one has left the building. But I had to leave because I had a fucking gig. I was doing Rascals, and that was pay night. It was a Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
So Lynn Elliott kicked the field goal, and they won, I want to say 16. And then that was a big, they won the division, I think, 12-4. That year.
Wow, dude, that's a great memory.
But I kind of stopped watching a few years after, so like the memories I have, I remember, but like I didn't watch the Roma years. Right?
But you're just not a Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is you can't. Yeah.
Nah, he annoys me.
Then his sons are going to take over.
Yeah,
his sons are running.
Maybe they'll be more reasonable though. You never know. I mean, Steinbrenner was a prick too, but Steinbrenner at least wanted to win and he didn't have a salary cap.
No, and Steinbrenner was said use his resources to. I think also with Jerry Jones, it might be a little ego too, right? Like
it's a lot of ego. And Steinbrenner had Billy Martin, and Billy Martin would tell anybody to go fuck themselves. So he did. I mean, after all, I think Buck Showalter was a bit more mellow, and Joe Torre was certainly a more mellow guy. But Steinbrenner would have people that didn't like him or would talk shit to him publicly. He had if you played well, you played for him.
Yeah, well, the thing about Steinbrenner was Steinbrenner would fire Billy Martin and then bring him back.
I loved it.
They had that relationship where he probably said, "Fuck you, fat boy."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's like, rest his soul.
Billy Martin was the best.
Oh, Billy Martin
was he 61 when he died? He wasn't that old.
No, he died. I believe he died. Yeah, rest his soul. I think he died on Christmas Eve in a car.
Fucking his head hit the passenger side window. Dude, he wasn't driving, which is the craziest part.
He called fucking Reggie Jackson out of the outfield at Fenway, and you could watch. It's one of the greatest. And he's going, "What the?" And they are in each other's face, and it's fucking. Billy Martin did not give a fuck who you were. He didn't care if you were the owner. There are certain characters in sports that are just like legendary. I saw something with you got to watch this. I saw it yesterday. Tommy Lasorda comes to the mound as a manager of the Dodgers, and he walks out and he goes, "You motherfucker, making me take you out," or something. And the guy goes, "No." He goes, "Tommy, okay." He goes, "Oh, fuck, shut the fuck." Dude, it was mic'd up. He goes, "Shut the fuck up and let me do my job. It's my fucking team, motherfucker." And you hear it. Dude, it sounded like 2 fat Italian guys eating a pasta dinner. And he's going, now I got to bring this cocksucker. And he's going, he goes, "Give me the fucking ball. I don't give a fuck." And then they stayed with the mics on, and they're in the dugout. And you hear him, and he goes, "It's my fucking job. Let me take the..." Dude, it was time.
Good for him.
Yeah, it was there. If you listen to some of the mic'd up shit that baseball managers say, it's really, really incredible. Now, you're also a fan, and I've become big in it, is the UFC.
Yeah, I stopped watching most team sports because of that. Like and plus most athletes I've interviewed, they wear their fucking sunglasses during the interview. You're like, oh, fucking shut up. They're just annoying, most of them. I didn't like, and then you'd interview like Rampage or Chuck Liddell, and they're the fucking nicest guys on earth, and they could strangle all these other athletes, and they're the sweetest guys. So I'm like, why am I fucking watching these dickheads when these murderers are the nicest guys on the planet?
There's really not too many egos, right?
Nah, they're all very nice guys. As long as they know you're not being a dick to them, that's why I like them so much. Is they all be very friendly to the fans. And again, Dana's good to the fans, and I think it all rolls downhill. But I've been to so many events, and those guys always stopping to take pictures with fans, even when they're busy and they don't want to. They're always doing it, like, as they're walking back. There's just an attitude of being really friendly to the fans, and I just like that so much.
Yeah.
And I loved watching those guys interact with the crowd. Yeah. All of them are like that. So I just kind of got so connected to it, and then getting to know a lot of them, I'm like, I can't not root for these guys.
No, it's so cool, man. And your partner Dave, right?
No, Matt Serra.
Matt Serra. Who's Dave? Dave Serra was a BMX biker. I think he passed away.
Yeah, Matt's another guy, a great guy. But boy, Matt, if Matt thinks that you are a bully or fucking, he turns like a fucking light switch. Like he's a problem. That's a problem.
And he seems like a super nice guy.
Great.
But like The nice thing about the UFC, which boxing completely dropped the ball on, is UFC card. The whole night's great.
It's
the whole
great.
Night, the first fight, you're just in. It might as well be the last fight. It doesn't matter. And sometimes the first, second fight's better.
Yeah.
And boxing, you got to wait 7 months for a fucking decent fight, if that. Dana White makes the best guy fight the next best guy, right? If you're ranked number 2, you got to fight the number 1 guy, right? That's how it works.
Normally, yeah. There are times though when again where another option is too good to pass up. Like first of all, with UFC, you usually get the fights that you want. Like, you know what I mean? There's most fights I want to see, I've gotten to see. Like I would love to see so and so match up, and it happens. Sometimes it takes longer than I wanted to.
McGregor and Diaz, the first one was one everybody wanted to see.
Yes,
right?
McGregor Gaethje is the fight that I want more than anything. But he's fighting Michael Chandler, which I give McGregor a lot. I mean, they're both very tough, but I think Chandler's style is a little fucking stocky wrestler.
Chandler's a fucking animal.
He's a fucking fire plug, yeah.
He's an animal.
Jon Jones against Cyril Gane for the heavyweight championship, because Francis is gone now, and Jon Jones is coming up from light heavyweight, hasn't fought in 3 years. So there are other guys like Stipe who might be more entitled as far as the time spent and ranked number 1 and number 2.
Yeah.
But Jones is Jones. I mean, you know what I mean? Like he jumps the line because he's Jon Jones, and we all want to see Jon Jones fight, and he's one of the greatest fighters of all time. So he's earned it, you know?
Yeah. The only thing, Dana White, man, I like Dana White. The only thing Dana White is that slap. And I don't mean on his wife.
Right.
I mean the league.
Sure.
Dude, I mean, when I saw that Romanian guy's head blow up like a fucking watermelon.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what are they doing, dude? It's like, and then one guy had a brain bleed. So when you have, so when Tua, the quarterback of the
Dolphins?
Yeah. When he did this shit, that means that it's a seizure, but it also means there's like a little bit of a bleed instead of just and a guy on the slap thing is sitting there doing that, and it's like, there's defenseless. It's a little weird to me.
It's in a bizarre. It seems worse because you can hear the slap. I've seen just clips of it. I haven't watched the show, but I mean, it is one slap or 2 slaps. When you look at boxers, you're getting punched in the head.
Yeah.
The same force for 12 rounds.
I guess if you win, you keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, boxing, MMA is the least likely, I think, because there's so many other ways to stop a guy.
Yeah, submissions.
Yeah.
No, that's why I really think UFC is it.
I do too. It's not going anywhere.
No, it's not going anywhere. The only thing that I think UFC needs is, it does seem like the same guys fight within the same couple of years, like all the time. But that just means that somebody's got to come up. These young guys coming up, right?
Well, you have got Dana White Contender Series. You also have the Ultimate Fighter House, which Chandler and McGregor are going to be the 2 coaches of that, which had a lot of young fighters come through.
Oh, nice.
A lot of guys have come through the Ultimate Fighter. So it's kind of like their own farm system. Like, you know what I mean? The UFC's farm system begins with you on television, so people kind of get invested in you and start to like you. And occasionally they bring in people from other promotions, like Chandler came, I think, from Bellator. Like, you have these other guys that come from other promotions, but most guys are homegrown. And young guys are fucking dangerous now because they're all starting when they're 11, taking everything.
Yeah, like they're not just strikers. They could just they have all like facets of the jiu-jitsu and all that. I remember when Chandler did his first fight, he came in and beat the shit out of that kid.
Dan Hooker?
Backflip.
Was it Dan? I think it was Dan Hooker.
It was Dan Hooker,
yeah.
and then he did.
Was a good fighter.
But really good fighter.
Yeah.
I remember watching him. But Chandler's got that thing where I get excited, like when I used to watch Tyson.
Yeah.
He's got that thing where he shows up. I didn't like when he fought Gaethje and they just had their guards down and let each other punch each other in the face.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
They look at each other, going like, it's kind of like, don't do that to yourself. I know we lost all the female listeners, but I don't give a fuck. Actually, UFC to me, it's like a night. I tell my friends, I'm like, if I'm not working, I go, hey, come over, we'll get the thing, we'll watch it. Starts at 10, but I started making money on it too. What I did is I started making big money. Here's what I did. I go and I'll pick the round that I think it's going to happen in, and for low money you could win. So what I did was I had Leon
Edwards.
I had Leon Edwards beating Usman, and
in the 5th?
I picked the round.
Oh.
And I put 50 on it and won 1,700.
Wow.
And then I did it in another, and I had a 1,200. So I made almost $3,000. Just going, okay, you know what? I'm going to take, because you only have to risk 50.
Right. And the odds are so astronomical.
BetMGM is probably going to change this, but so I'm looking at, and you could go like Edwards 1, 2, 3, or 4, or Usman 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you just put 50 on it, and the odds are so, because if you're especially, it's really harder with the heavyweights because they think the heavyweights are not going to go past 3. The Jon Jones Gane fight, people, nobody's going to think that fight's going to go past 3.
Maybe. I mean, that might be a submission win, or you never know. That might be because they're both so agile. And
Who do you like in it, by the way? Are you allowed to? I know you do a show.
Sure. Yeah,
okay,
they don't care.
I know you do a show.
Yeah. We had a guy on. Yanni the Greek was on yesterday. He's a big odds maker and picker. I don't know, to be honest.
Hard to go against Jones, isn't it?
Jones hasn't fought in 3 years. He's moving up in weight. He's fighting a guy who's fucking moves like a middleweight. Cyril Gane has beautiful body kicks. He's a really, really big guy but Jon is so devastating on the ground. I don't know who to pick, to be honest with you. I guess as it gets closer, I pick so wrong. So I bet with my heart, which is why I'm not a good gambler at all. I bet with I can't bet against this guy.
Right.
I don't know. I could see either one of them winning, but I think it might be either a submission or a decision. I don't think there's going to be a knockout. I don't think one of those guys will get dropped. John's never been. Johnson only lost once, and that was disqualification. So I think that, and Cyril lost to Francis on a decision.
Can Jones strike as good as anybody too?
Yeah, although he's not. He hasn't. I don't think he's finished anybody in a while. I think Gustafsson. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Oh, is that the kid, the Swedish kid?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
All right. He gave him a good fight.
Yes, he did. Well, they had a decision in the first fight, and then they had Jones finish him in the second fight.
I'm gonna bet Jones just because I think he's training like an animal, and I think he's ready, and I think he's.
It's a smart bet. Yeah, it's not a crazy bet.
And I think, like you said, I think he's more athletic.
Yep.
And I think if he gets him on the ground, but that Gane kid could, he's one of those things where when it's a heavyweight, and the weight thing scares me though, because he can catch one from that guy and just go out.
Yeah, I mean, going up in weights, I mean, he was fighting at 205 for a long time, and then he's going to, I don't know, he's going to weigh 235 maybe, or 230. I don't know what he's going to weigh in at. But I mean, he's fighting a much bigger fighter. I think Jones still has a 4-inch or 3-inch reach advantage, which is crazy. Like, even at heavyweight, he still has a reach advantage.
I think Francis Ngannou Jones would have been a better fight.
I don't know. Jones moves so well. I would like to see Ngannou fight Sergey Pavlovich, who's a big Russian guy. He's like 17-1. He's great.
Yeah. When these guys come in, when you watch some of these fucking guys come in, these Polish kids, they just come in and they are the toughest fucking dudes, man. They just I watched
Marcin Tybura, yeah.
Yeah, and I even watched the ones at the Apex. I watched
they're great fights.
I watched the ESPN Plus.
Yep.
It's incredible, man.
Yeah.
But I did hear this. I did hear being at it is not as good as watching on TV if you're not, because you can't really see. Like,
it's very exciting though. Like I've been, I went recently to the Garden. I've been at some cool fights. Like, I was at the fight where Silva broke his leg against Weidman in their rematch.
Dude, that was tough, man.
I was in I think it was it was a California fight. I think where Anaheim when. Cyborg lost to Amanda Nunes in the first round. That was great. I mean, that was I think Jones was the main for that fight. I don't really quite remember, but that was an incredible fight. Ronda against Misha. Like, there's some really great fights I've been to live, and the energy of those fights.
But you're not missing things. You got.
I mean, luckily I know Dana, so I get decent seats.
Okay.
You will look at it once in a while,
Yeah.
but luckily I'm close enough. But I imagine it's a little harder if you're farther away.
Yeah.
But it's like anything. If you're in the outfield watching baseball.
Yeah. No, I have not been to one. I've been to everything except boxing, or I've never been to a live combat sport before.
It's great. If you're sitting like the first X amount of rows, even if you're sitting far back, the energy in the room is so good. It's exciting. When you watch a guy get knocked out, when you watch a guy get punched and fall to the ground, it's pretty amazing.
What's the biggest boxing match you've ever been to?
I've only been to one. Louis C.K. took me to Gennady Golovkin against somebody who I don't remember. Triple G against somebody. It was at the Garden. Trump was there.
It wasn't Canelo, was it?
No. It was before those fights. Triple G was still undefeated at that point. But I don't remember.
Triple G got fucked with that Canelo fight, man.
Of course he does. That's why I hate boxing. The first one, right?
Yeah, the first one.
That's why I hate. He clearly won, and that woman fucked him up with that terrible scorecard.
Oh, the judge. Yeah, no, that was
disgusting.
He won that.
He won the fight clearly.
And that's what another thing that sucks with boxing.
Yeah.
Is I just don't, man. I just don't like it, especially like plus Pacquiao and Floyd fought 10 years after they should have.
Yes.
They should have fought years before.
They made us wait for Tyson and Holyfield. I mean, Tyson got locked up, but before that, it was taking too long.
Yeah, but and then they go, oh, he was hurt. His shoulder was hurt anyway, Pacquiao. Or it's like, okay, thanks, because everybody fucking lined up and paid. And then they also made the pay-per-view $110.
I can't watch boxing for that reason. I hate the judging. I'm very bored watching the after you're watching combat sports, like MMA. When you watch a guy get fucking tied up in a boxing ring, it's just not as fun as watching the guy. People are like, oh, it's boring when they're on the ground, and it's more fun watching them throw 2 punches and hug until the ref breaks them up and goes, okay, clean fight. Shut up.
It is.
Boxing is a great sport, but I could never enjoy Floyd Mayweather's fights. Never liked them.
Yeah.
Great fighter, but I'd rather watch MMA.
This is how good MMA is. I made fun of it and never thought I would like the UFC, and now it's my favorite thing because I just learned that I learned what it was.
You got to go to a fight though. It really is exciting to be at one. I've never been to the Apex for a fight. I would like to do that. To just sit in that small room.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I would like that better than being in a big arena. You're right though. The energy, to feel the energy when they come out and the music's on and shit, right?
When I was watching Amanda, because I love Amanda Nunes, when I was watching her beat Cyborg, because again, Cyborg was so big and she had won 20 straight fights. When you were watching her beat Cyborg, I couldn't believe she was beating her like she was. First round knockout. It's as exciting a thing as I've ever been to in my life.
I'll tell you, the UFC sometimes when somebody's dominant. It's when it's brutal like that, like when Nunes lost the title.
Oh,
she
yeah.
lost the title to
Jessica Pena.
Yeah, Pena. Yeah. And then Pena came back for the rematch.
Yep.
And she mauled her. She was on top of her and mauled her. I give Pena a lot of credit for staying in there.
That was a decision. I think she wanted.
Then she started hitting her, and then blood started going, and Pena stuck in there, and Nunes smothered her and just mauled her, and got it back. And I was just like, that's another reason why the UFC is so great is women fights. And this is not because listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't watch the WNBA.
No,
I can't watch the WNBA when I watch LeBron dunk from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Okay, just can't. It's no knock, but certain sports I can watch both. UFC, I'll bet on and watch Amanda Nunes fight the way I'll watch a Jon Jones fight. Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah. Rose Namajunas is a great fighter. Weili Zhang, there's so many great female fighters. And it's like it took a while for it to build up and the divisions to build up. Shevchenko is a great fighter. Like there's some fucking murderers who are
my
women.
favorite now, most exciting now for me is Michael Chandler. You know, I just wish he protected himself a little more, especially that.
I think he's 2-3 in the UFC, but his losses have all been amazing.
Well, that Gaethje fight, he put his hands down and walked at him and goes, "Come on," while his nose is hanging off his fucking face.
Yeah, and I don't like to see any of those guys doing that in the middle. Like, just do what you have to do to win the fight. Like, we both know that you're a savage, and Gaethje is a fucking animal. Everybody knows that.
Gaethje's an animal.
He's just, again, whether you want him to win because you love him.
Do you know him?
I know him very casually. I've interviewed him a bunch. I've only met him in person once. It's weird meeting these guys in person because I was interviewing so many of them on Zoom for so long. And then you're at an event. Yeah. And I'm sitting next to Kevin Holland. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I've talked to this guy 30 times and I've never met him. Like
he seems like a fun, nice guy.
He's great. Yeah, they're all good guys. Like when you meet them one-on-one, they're all very pleasant.
Do you think Gaethje would beat McGregor?
Yes, I do. Because Conor hasn't fought in a while. Yeah. Conor, I mean, his left is devastating, and he's a much better fighter than a lot of people would give him credit for, just because he's Conor and he's so. Yeah. He's such a great salesman and a great showman, but he's also a great fighter and he's a great puncher. But Gaethje has those leg kicks that are, and you know, Conor throws great kicks, but Gaethje is just a fucking a leg kicking beast. And I would take Gaethje over Conor. Yeah, that's the fight I want.
Yeah, but he's going to fight Chandler instead.
Yeah, that's also a great fight.
And that's
he fought. Conor. You mean not Gaethje?
Connor's going to fight Chandler.
Yes.
That's booked?
Yeah, I don't know when. I don't know if the date's been announced yet. It might have been. I know they're going to be on The Ultimate Fighter as coaches, and then they're going to fight.
Oh, and then they're going to fight. Yeah. No, man, this is great, dude. The last time I saw you when we were hanging out of this was when you were eating like you were going to jail. You were eating like you were going to jail the next
I know.
day.
I was eating a lot. Where did I see you?
No, you came to my house for my party, and you were eating like you were going to jail. But now I'm seeing, because that's when you said you were losing weight. I mean, you were gaining weight. Yep. But now I see you, and you look like you're back to the.
Thank you. Yeah, I've lost a decent amount of weight. I still am like a bit of a fucking schlump naked. Like, I'm never going to be anybody that a woman wants to fuck. Women always resign themselves to fucking me. Like, this guy's got a great personality. He's kind of funny. I'll let him stick his dick in me. It's never like a lust thing. Like, you know what I mean? No women ever look at me and go, yeah, all right.
What are you like when you go there? Are you a weights guy or a cardio guy? Like, what do you?
I fucking hate cardio because I have sleep apnea, so I'll do weights. But I mean, I do a little bit of cardio. Like a lot of times in the gym in my house, I'll just do an hour on the elliptical watching the iPad. I really am like a 70-year-old aunt. You know what I mean? I should wear my fucking my stupid little my flowered sweatpants and go on there and just go for a walk and do my arms like this. But I'll do an hour and then I'll do some. I hurt my arms again doing pull-ups. Like, you know, nobody wants to hear physical fitness advice from Jim Norton. That really is. Nobody wants to fucking hear that.
Dude, it'd be funny if you took your shirt off, you were just absolutely shredded like a fucking.
It would be, and I would love to do that for the laugh, but I'm not. You know, I look like I'm melting.
It's hard, man. It's hard. Like, I want to go. Like, I go to the track, and I just go to the track, and I walk, and I run a little bit. I do a lot of push-ups and stuff, but it's hard, man. The older you get, it's fucking hard, isn't it?
I just get bored with it. I'm like, I got a girlfriend that like.
I put a crime doc on, and I'm like, I'll do
yes,
push-ups
me
after.
too. Me too.
Do you?
No, I'll do that while I'm like. That's what gets me through a workout. You know what I mean? Watching some guy sit there and talk through a plexiglass window about how many prostitutes he strangled, and I'm like, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's how I get through my fucking workouts because you're so wrapped up in the story, you don't realize you're walking for a while. You know what I mean?
Are you a big crime? Are you into the crime?
Yeah, I am so sick of serial killers. I'm so sick of these fucking assholes. But they're the things that tend to have multiple episode stories, so I'll watch them. But you don't have to watch them as closely as a movie. Like, you know what I mean? You kind of get the gist of it.
Yeah, I didn't realize, too, like, that whole New York Times Square one was really, like...
That was interesting. I don't remember that. So, yeah, that guy was interesting. The one that they finally caught, he would take them to Jersey to a hotel, right?
Yeah, that was brutal. Some of these guys do, but like what the weird one was, the worst one was the guy who worked in a church. Was it the BK?
Dennis Rader. Yeah, he got caught. He was because he's stupid asshole said, "Can they track me from this
computer, right?
Fucking A drive?" And they're like, "No." And he went, "All right." He's stupid.
Yeah, and
he was a creep. He should have been burned alive.
Yeah, dude. That's I got to be honest, man. Like that to me is like horrifying. The Night Stalker going into people's windows and shit. Like in
with his bad teeth.
I met the guy that got him is the co-host with George Lopez.
Oh, I didn't know that. He's a cop.
He's ex-detective. He's the one that got him. He's in the doc. He's the one that got him, dude. And he was just like, just talking about the evil that the guy was.
Yeah.
But like listening to from that perspective is really, really fucking nuts. But I talked about. I don't know if you saw Blackbird. Did you see Blackbird?
No, I don't know if I've heard of it.
So Blackbird is, it's, I don't know if I talked about it before, but real quick, Paul Walter Hauser, you know Paul Walter Hauser, right? He's fucking fan. He just won a Golden Globe for it. It's a true story about this dude, Jimmy Keene, who was like a football star, right? Just good-looking kid, ton of girls, but all his friends were rich, and he wasn't, so he sold drugs, and he fucking had an empire. He got a mansion, all this stuff. Fucking SWAT team comes in, takes him down. And his father, and the true story of the movie was great, played by the late, great Ray Liotta.
Oh.
Was one of the last things he did. And he's like, they're going to make an example of you. And he's cocky. He's like, I got money. I got I got lawyers. He goes, no. They're going to make an example. You got to take a plea deal. You got to take the 5 years or you're going to fucking be in there. And he's like, so he takes the 5 years. They fuck him. And it's 10 years. He goes, you motherfuckers, right? So then he goes to the thing. They call him into a room. While he's just the fact that this is true story is fucking mind blowing.
Oh yes, I heard it. Yes.
So they call him in and they go, hey, if you go to this maximum security prison and befriend this serial killer, we're trying to find out where this woman's body is.
Yep.
If you find out where this woman's body is, you're going to get exonerated. And at first he's like, no, you fucking lied to me about the 5 years. But then he does it. The serial killer, they put his cell next to the serial killer cell. It's Paul Walter Hauser. Dude, it's 6 episodes on Apple TV.
That, yes.
It's 6 episodes on Apple TV. It's a true story, and it's fucking incredible.
I will watch that. I remember hearing about that as soon as you said the serial killer, because it sounds like something that Hollywood would make up, which would make me physically ill.
No, that's what I mean. And the reason why I liked it is because I was like, I read about it and it is true. And then I saw the real guy talking, and the real guy was saying they tried to make a movie about it, and the movie fell through.
Right.
So now they did this.
Yeah, I've heard about that, and I actually do want to see that.
And the craziest thing about it is they said to him, while in the process of befriending this guy, if you fuck up in here and you get into a fight and you get more time, we can't help that.
Yeah, yes, it's like being deep undercover or something.
So it's like, that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
So I would definitely suggest that. But yeah, man, I love. Thank you so much for doing the show, dude.
Wow, we're almost done.
Well, yeah.
Wow,
no,
Jesus.
No.
Oh, we just been shooting the breeze for a long time, haven't we?
That's how you know it's a good one, man. But no, dude, you're and I don't mean to say this to make you uncomfortable, but me and Dan Soder and a bunch of people have said that you're one of the best, and I think one of the most grossly underrated comics ever.
You're very. Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, truly. What?
Or I could be like Kareem. You're very underrated. I am. I love Kareem. I've been watching interviews with him lately where they're telling me he's underrated. He's going, yes, I am.
I'm glad you brought up Kareem. Did you see Kareem's face when LeBron? Dude, he looked. They showed LeBron won the.
Sure, I watched.
They had the. Kareem's face looked. He wanted no part of that night. But one of the best camera angles. LeBron shoots one, and they just showed Kareem sipping his drink. He looked sick.
Yeah.
He looked fucking sick.
Well, those. Sneeze coming. Hold on. God damn it, Daddy, get your tissue. Hold on, Daddy has to sneeze. Okay, now it goes away. I got the tissue and I can't sneeze. I love Kareem. He's one of my favorite people. I have a great photo signed by Kareem, me and him. It's Sirius XM where he's just standing up, towering. Oh, it's such a good moment in life.
He was on the show?
Yeah, but this was before. He was going to be interviewed by somebody else, so I went with a basketball. I mean, I really am the fucking worst white piece of shit. He must have hated me. And I
walked. You showed up with a basket.
But I see him. It was in a baggie, and he says to me, "Of course." And he goes,
The only thing worse is if you were in an outfit.
I literally should have been wearing my purple and yellow outfit. And I say to him, I go, Kareem, and he goes, I know you. And he knew me because I was on an episode of Bored to Death with Jason Schwartzman. And he goes, oh, yeah, I know you from that show. So I was like, can we take a picture together? He said, yeah, sure. We took a picture.
Oh, that's the best.
And he didn't want to sign the ball. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll do it after. And the booker saw what was happening, who I know.
Yeah.
And the booker goes, no, we got a couple of minutes. You're good. And so then he was kind of like, he didn't want to be rude. So, but I got it to me. It just says to Jim, Abdul-Jabbar.
That's crazy.
I'll never sell it. You know what I mean?
No. That's one that you remember the story, and you met Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, dude.
Yeah.
That's like...
We had him on the show one time. Kevin Smith was on. He was on. It was an odd combination of people. But
was he good on the show? Or
he was nice, man. I liked Kareem, and again, he's been pleasant to me the couple times I've met him. But I know he can be kind of hot or cold.
Yeah. Now that you said that, I got a story where I was doing this bar show in Connecticut, and the bar show gets canceled for some reason. It was at this weird new place.
They probably announced I was going to be honest.
It was I forgot what it was. We were all young comics coming up, just trying to get on, and they go, hey, there's a bar next door if you want to go get some drinks. So I go, and the NBA Finals are on, and it's the Spurs and the Pistons, and I see this tall black guy, awkwardly tall, in a suit, and older, and looked like he shouldn't be in the bar. And I just get a thing next to him, and I go, man, you're tall, dude. I go, like, where'd you play basketball in college? And he goes, no, I didn't play college. I played pro. And I go, oh, man, like, what's your name? And he said it was Connie Hawkins. Connie Hawkins was the guy that got in trouble for gambling. He was incredible. And we just started talking. And I remember saying, who's going to win? And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, I think he said something about Tim Duncan and the Spurs are too good or something like that. And he happened to be right. I mean, Detroit did win a title in that era with Ben Wallace and stuff. But when you see these guys, dude, when you see I was talking to Cannon about this. When you see a 6'9", 6'11" dude, it's another thing, man. Like Kareem is
7'2".
No,
he's 7'2".
It must have been. Were you up to his dick?
I wish. I would service Kareem out of respect. Out of respect for the fucking against the Pistons, how he sunk his free throws. Yeah, I mean he's a giant. But I've met Shaq too. He's also a giant. I think he's 7. I think Kareem is the biggest guy I've ever stood next to. 7'2". Yeah,
you know who's big comedian is Brad Garrett. I shook Brad Garrett's hand. He's like 6'9". His hand was like overlapping on mine.
Yes.
He's a big kid.
He used to hang at the Cellar. Like him and him and Ray Romano would come, but I was always sitting at the table. So I never got to like really stand next to him. I didn't really think I realized how huge he was at the time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of big comedian. I guess Gary Gulman.
Gulman's a big guy. He's like 6'6", right? 6'4".
He played tight end in like a major college. I think he played like Boston College.
Yeah. He's a very big guy.
Yeah, I'm 5'8". What are you?
I mean, I'm 5'7" for the podcast, but off the record, 5'6.5".
I got a picture. I got a picture.
I'm a twerp.
I got a picture next to Kevin Hart. Dude, I towered. Somebody goes, you look giant.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I like Kevin. I feel huge. I actually hold him in my lap like a puppet when we take pictures.
Dustin Hoffman used to put shit in his shoes, I heard. Dustin Hoffman and another guy that's not
Pacino, I think, has little lifts. I can't stop looking at Pacino.
Little lips.
You watch at the end of what's the Righteous Kill? There's a moment where Pacino is laying, dying. And you can see his fucking little teeny shoes. He's like, gotta be taller, you know.
Little lips hit me.
Just watch the end of Righteous Kill. When I looked in the camera and I said that, watch the end of Righteous Kill.
Righteous Kill stunk though.
That was not a great film.
I took my wife on a date night going, De Niro, Pacino. It's called Righteous Kill, and we just it was one of those where you leave and you're like, eh.
Yeah, my date was a really curmudgeonly fat woman named Robert Kelly, and we went and saw that at the premiere. And we're in the bathroom. He's like, "Yeah, dude, that wasn't any good." And the director's in the bathroom, fucking pissing behind us.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But he was right.
Serious?
Wasn't great. But Pacino dying with his lifts, you'll never unsee his big lifts. He has specially made shoes, but it was like little Frankenstein shoes. The black part of the bottom. It's like, oh, Al's giving himself a couple inches. Good for you, Al.
Little lifts.
Yeah.
That's so funny. You know who's actually not a big guy at all, but I think they do camera tricks is Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah, he's a small guy.
He's like Maverick. You know, like pilots are tall.
I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, that they would actually have his female co-stars walk in something that was lower than him if they had to, so that they evened out. That might be bullshit, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was true.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're like an airline pilot, you can't be fucking 5'4".
No, nobody wants a fucking Top Gun pilot with blocks on the fucking pedals. Little fella, little guy.
Oh shit, man! This is great, dude. This went so fast. I could talk to you always, dude.
Thank you. I loved it.
Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed it, man.
I loved it, man. Thank you.
So fun, and we got to watch one time. We should do a UFC thing at my house, and we'll eat like fucking pigs.
I would like that a lot. I'm avoiding the Super Bowl because I'm trying to watch my weight, but don't hold me to it.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
I know you're not watching sports. Let's do a little Jim Norton. Let's do a little Jim Norton Super Bowl prediction. You like the Chiefs or the Eagles? What do you think?
I think the Eagles are going to win. I hate the Eagles.
Listen.
But I'm rooting for them because I like Philly as a city, and they're great fans there, so I love Philadelphia people.
You're a Dallas fan. I'm a Giants fan. We both equally hate the Eagles.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are going to win the game. I think they're a better team, and Philly is a great city. I'm tired of the Mahomes thing. I'm just tired of.
I'm tired
of how
his
miracle he is. His miracle that he throws these laterals. His wife is screaming at people. This is what I didn't like. Joe Burrow, who I love, the kid smokes cigars when he wins. So then when they lost, the look on your face. Mahomes' dad took a cigar and started lighting it, and his wife's going, "Light that shit. Light that shit." And the brother was behind him dancing. I want...
Yep.
That's all I needed to see.
I want a blowout. I literally want humiliation and punishment. I want the dirty, fucking rotten shit Eagles to destroy that team. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to see. It would be nice to see, like, listen, dude, and this is no disrespect to your wife you can't be a professional. And I think Mahomes, like I saw him, like one time she said she mouthed it. She goes, "Patrick wants me to stop making it." Like, I think he probably goes like, "Hey, can you fucking cool it?
What are you doing? Stop it.
Guys are chasing me. What are you?"
Yeah, I would never want my girlfriend or wife to be a central figure. Like, I would hate if I shot a special and they kept cutting to her laughing and getting everybody to laugh, which would never happen. My girlfriend she's so literal, she thinks I stink.
Jim Norton, man, absolute best, dude. I got tears in my eyes. That was so much fun. It went so quick.
This was fun.
Please plug anything you got.
Just March 4th at the Paramount Theater, the night of the Jon Jones fight. Great night to be doing stand-up. So come see me and then go home immediately and get the pay-per-view. And then April 21, 22, Hilarities in Cleveland. And that's it.
Go see truly one of the best. By the way, great job as Rickles in the movie.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and... Oh my God, The Irishman. My memory's going, man. Wow.
You were in it, and you go, "What movie?"
Yeah, and I got to the premiere, but I was a very tough ticket to get. I took Sam Roberts. Anyway, ended my boring story. Who cares, Jim?
Yeah, guys, I'm going to be at the Zanies in Chicago, March 2nd through 4th. Then I'm going to Providence, Rhode Island, and I have Salt Lake City, Denver, Charlotte, Raleigh, Tampa, and Atlanta just got added. More dates. Go to paulvirzi.com. Please continue to check out and spread the word on my Netflix special, Nocturnal Admissions. It's doing great, thank God. And just subscribe, like, all that stuff, and get the Virzi Effect everywhere you get your podcast, iTunes, Spotify. I'll be back next week. I want to thank my amazing guest, the hilarious Jim Norton, and I'll be back next week, guys. Take care.
Goodbye.